So I'm joined by Tom, who is the Recruitment and Resourcing Manager of Surrey County Council. Tom, you've been doing an awful lot of interviewing and onboarding over video because of the current situation. You've seen an awful lot of great ways to do it and really bad ways to do it. So I was hoping that we could pick your brains and you could impart some of that wisdom about the best way to come across on video as a candidate.
Yeah, no problem at all. Do you know what the most important thing, and I think maybe the single most important thing for candidates to remember who are doing virtual interviews, are that you need to approach it as if it was a face-to-face interview.
Okay.
Now, what I mean by that is I have seen too many candidates, I think, approaching video interviews maybe too casually. And what I mean by that is people who maybe are not approaching it in the same way as if you were face to face and taking it maybe, and that can give the impression maybe that you're not taking it as seriously. Now, my advice to candidates would always be make sure that you not only are presentable as you normally would be, but you effectively do exactly what you would do as if it was face to face. So that includes things like being on time, making sure that you're coming across professionally, making sure that there's as much eye contact as possible, and making sure as well that you don't forget that this is a formal interview. I have seen some candidates where regrettably and unbelievably maybe even have ended up talking to me, and I'm not joking, like this. And they're not even appeared to be sort of looking at the camera or the screen, and they're sort of up here answering away, and it all comes across as being a little casual. Clearly you need to judge obviously what's needed for the role, but that would be one of my top tips, is to do everything that you would as if it was a face-to-face interview. Another tip is always make sure you try and test, well, if you can, test your equipment before. So make sure that you've got good Wi-Fi signal, make sure that you've got no distractions around you, make sure that you can focus solely on the interview itself. And don't be afraid as well to do things like use hand gestures and things like that, because people are still looking at your body language, and it's still really important. And actually maybe even more so, because actually instead of looking at someone's maybe entire body, they are looking very much just at this section here. So any kind of like wandering eyes or anything like this suddenly becomes very, very apparent to people doing the interview. So my top tip would be just to approach it in the same way you would, and with the same respect you would show a face-to-face.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Tom.
You're welcome.